Hi viewers, welcome to my YouTube channel. And today's episode, this is my second episode, and we're going to discuss about types of audiences, qualities of a good storyteller, techniques of storytelling, and finally classification of oral narratives. If I may take you back to my first episode, we talked about what oral literature is. We also looked at the classification of oral literature, and finally why we study oral literature. So today's lesson is just a continuation of what we did in episode 1. Okay, for a narration to be complete, we must have the narrator and also the audience. So today we're going to look at the different types of audiences. And just to mention, we have two types of audiences, that is the active audience and the passive audience. What is the difference between the active and passive audience? Active audience is normally they are normally lively during the performance, while the passive audience are attentive but remain dormant during the performance. That is the main difference between the two. Now, I quickly take you to the qualities of a good storyteller. For you to be a good storyteller, we must possess some qualities. And to begin with, the first one is you should be bold. One, you should have that confidence in yourself to tell a story to the audience. Number two, you should have a good memory. That is, you should be in a position to recall all the details, especially when you're telling a story. Then number three, should be creative and imaginative. Make the story as interesting as possible. Number four, um, a good storyteller should be interested in various cultures. As we know, oral literature is a mirror of different cultures. And so a good storyteller should have or should be well acquainted with different cultures so that he or she can really enjoy the storytelling sessions. Number five, a good storyteller should be able to bridge between the world of yesterday, that is the past, the world of today, that is the present, and finally the world of tomorrow, which is the future. Number six, he or she should be sensitive to ensure that he does not offend or embarrass the audience. As you're telling your stories, as you're making jokes, you should be very cautious not to embarrass or offend your audience. Then number seven, a good storyteller should be a teacher of morality. Finally, he or she should be a good actor in order to keep the audience attentive throughout the performance. How can you be a good actor? By the use of gestures, the use of mimicry, such. And that is what we're going to look at. That takes us or ushers us into the techniques of a storytelling session. So to begin with, the use of dramatization. Dramatization is basically the use of your body, the use of the space provided, moving around as you're telling the story. Then number two, the use of gestures, that is the use of the hands. You can use your hands to show the hills, to show the valleys. Yeah. Then number three, facial expressions, that is the use of your face. Facial, gotten from the word face. The use of your face to maybe smile if the occasion is happy, to also frown if the occasion is not really that pleasing, to show anger if you're angry, that is using of the face. Then number four, the use of tonal variation. Tonal variation comes in when you vary your voice. You can either raise or lower your voice, especially if you're giving a command, you shout, "Hey, come here." If you're pleading with somebody or requesting or begging, then you lower your voice and say, "Hey, please help me," and so on. Then number five, we talk of mimicry. Mimicry is the act of imitating. For example, if one is talking about some ogre story, you're narrating an ogre story, then you can be in a position to mimic maybe the voice produced by the ogre, or the commands normally that are given, especially when the August stories are almost coming to the end. Then number 6, involvement of the audience. How can we involve our audiences? A good storyteller can always involve the audience by the use of songs, a well-known song, or you can use a proverb, you can use a riddle, and by so doing you shall keep your audience alert. Number 7, use of costumes and decorations. Before telling your stories, you can think of a good cloth or something. A costume is what you put on, how you look, that will depict the story that you're going to tell to the audience. Then lastly, we have the use of dramatic pause. That is especially meant for the audience to be in a position to tell what the narrator really wanted to put across or to communicate. Now, our next section is going to be the classification of oral narratives. Oral narratives are classified into various sections, which we shall analyze one after the other. And that is number 1, we have the trickster stories. Number 2, we have the ogre stories, which are also known as the monster stories. Number 3, we have the explanatory or etiological or the why stories. These are the stories which explain why things are the way they are. Then number 4, we have the dilemma stories. Then number 5, we have the myths. Then lastly, we have the legends. Legends normally tell us about our heroes in various communities. And that has been my lesson today, episode 2. Till we meet again, bye. Don't forget to subscribe and like my channel. Leave your comments, and I'm praying that this benefits you. Bye.